You're listening to Certify It, the podcast for advancing your career in care, powered by the Mason Center for Healthcare Education. Hear news, updates, and discussions from thought leaders in healthcare around advancing your career through continuing education.
Welcome to Certify It, the podcast for advancing your career in care. So I'm here today with Tiffany Schuster.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good. Thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely. I was really excited when you guys asked me to do this.
So we talked on our last podcast with a student that came through our medication aid, and we're trying to really show people the impact that we're trying to have in Knox County, not only on the county and healthcare in Knox County in general, but on the people that we are educating and helping upskill and find new skills so that they can advance their careers. And Brandy and Sue said if I talked to anybody that had been in a CNA class that I needed to talk to you.
Oh, that means a lot. I love both of them. They were really great and really helpful through the whole process.
So one of the stories that they told me about you before we get in too
goodness.
deep is, now you have to tell me what you did with the class on the first day.
On the first day.
And if you don't remember it, I'm going to have to prompt your memory.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
So I was told this story that on the first day of class that you got up in front of everyone. You know what I'm talking about now?
Yes, continue.
And, continue.
Yes.
And that you became like the class cheerleader.
I loved everyone that I was in the class with. It's a very small class, if people don't know. There's only 6 of us in the class and Miss Sue, our teacher. And so my biggest thing is I know I was so nervous taking the class because I haven't taken a class since I was in high school. I haven't done anything like that in a while. And so I wanted to make sure that the other girls knew that we could all talk to each other and help each other out and study together if need be, anything like that. I still talk to 2 of the girls I was in class with.
So the speech I heard that you gave was, we know this is going to be tough, but we're going to be able to do this. And now look at you today. You're sitting here. You've already passed your test. You're working as a CNA.
Yeah, a whole month now I've been working as a CNA.
So let's go back in time a little bit. I just had to go ahead and ask you about that because I was afraid I was going to forget it once we get into things. So tell us a little bit about how you got into healthcare and how you found healthcare.
It's really funny, actually, because before I started working as a CNA, I worked in the kitchen at Island Home. And I started working there because I was out of a job and my fiance works with Brandy's husband. And he was like, you know what? Let me put you in touch with my wife. She might love to meet you. And I started talking with Brandy and she got me into it because I wasn't sure what I would do at first. And she was like, well, why don't you start somewhere small and see what you want to do from there? And she had actually told me about the program at first that I could start the program after I've been there. I think it was 90 days. And I was like, okay, well, I'll feel it out in the kitchen and see how I like it. And it's a warm place. The people there are so nice. The administration is wonderful. And specifically Trudy, she made me feel very comfortable and like I could always talk to her. And same with Ellen. They've been wonderful the entire time I've been there. And everyone was very encouraging that, hey, try out the class. Like, just see if you like it. And so I did it and I enjoyed every second of it. It was, of course, it's not easy. You've got to push yourself to learn and learn new things and do them the right way. But you get proud of yourself for pushing through it.
What was it specifically that drew you to the CNA? Because I know that Island Home is one of our healthcare partners that helps bring people and upskill them so that they can grow their staff and give them educational opportunities. But, you know, there's a lot of opportunities that are available in long-term care. What was it about the CNA that really drew you to that part of it?
When I was in high school, my grandfather had cancer. He had throat cancer and he had a tracheotomy. And so I spent a lot of time helping my mom and the CNAs that would come to our house to help take care of him, and saw a lot of what they do and how much they cared for people. And when I saw the same thing when I was working in the kitchen there, I was like, you know what? I want to be one of those people. I want to be one of the people that helps more. Because yes, handing out food is so helpful. It is wonderful to feed those people. But being able to do just that little extra more is more fulfilling.
So tell us a little bit you did come to the class after you'd been working for, I think you said with Island Home, it's 90 days. Um, so tell us a little bit about your experience in the class. You shared a
Mhm.
little bit about the class size, but what was it you found the most helpful while you were in the class and that you
It's
found the most challenging?
the most challenging is that it's, of course, a lot of information, and you need to make sure that you get it right because it's important. This is people's lives you're taking care of. And that's the hardest part is remembering that, like, book, yes, remember that, but these are actual people. You have to remember that while you're remembering those facts and remember the heart behind it. But the best thing was how helpful Miss Sue, our teacher, is. She's very honest, and if you need help, she's the first person there behind you to back you up. And like when we were in clinicals, she would always remind us, if you need me, you know where I'm at. Please come get me. You can always ask me any question you need. And I asked her so many questions. I probably talked her ear off, but she helped so much throughout the whole thing. And Brandy also, she told me and the other girls, if you guys have anything that you need, you can always come to me as well if Sue's not available. And it's that's the best thing is having people behind you to support you and answer those questions when you're stuck in a hard place.
So how did the fact that we have a full lab help you through
Oh,
the classwork
that
and
was really
prepare you
helpful.
for the exam?
I'm a very hands-on person, so when doing the things in the lab and the exam and going to clinicals was the best part for me because it felt like I was actually doing it rather than just kind of picturing it while I was studying and things like that. So I feel like that hands-on learning really like sticks it in people's brains so that when they go to do it, oh, I've already done this before. It's just muscle memory at that point.
You're listening to Certify It, the podcast for advancing your career in care. Brought to you by Propel Insurance. Find innovative insurance solutions in the toughest risk management environments. Over 500 senior care providers nationwide trust Propel to keep their business thriving. Find your momentum with Propel Insurance.
So can you share a little bit about your clinical experience? I
Yeah.
think you all have 2 weeks of clinical
Yes,
in
we do
CNA.
2 weeks of clinicals for CNAs. It was really wonderful. It was, of course, really jarring at first because you it's hard to remember that, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this now. It's real. And but the CNAs are wonderful about being there and helping and showing you. And especially like I've said about Island Home, I've got a soft spot for them. But the ladies there were so helpful about making sure to show you the right way to do things, ways that are good on you, proper body mechanics. Especially the ladies that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. They're like, honey, please don't hurt your back. Make sure you're in a good position and that you're not hurting yourself or them. And just that constant help and reminders. Like to this day, if I need help with something, I can go grab one of the other ladies and be like, hey, can you answer this question really quick? And that's the thing. Like I said before, support is wonderful when you're in a position like this.
Some of the feedback that we get about our CNA class particularly is that it is 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is 5 weeks of didactic book work
Mm-hmm.
and lab work, and then it's 2 weeks of clinical, which is long for a CNA class. Is what what some CNA classes are that are out there. There's some out there
See,
that are 2 or 3 weeks. How do you think that extra time?
I thought it was wonderful. It felt like it flew by still, but I had time to be prepared and know everything. And we got to go over things at the end just to make sure that everything was clear. So I know I went home every night and studied. So I would make sure that I would separate things that I wasn't super clear on and we would talk about them in class so that everyone was clear on them. And having extra time just means more time to be prepared and more time to make yourself know everything.
And with a smaller class size.
Oh, yeah, the intimacy of it and being able to we've got put in like pairs and groups a lot, like where she would put three of us and three of us together and being able to go off of one of another. And because maybe I don't know something, but another girl does. And then it's like, oh, wow, yeah, the way you describe that helps me remember it. Like, certain body positions and things, different shapes and things like that is how people remember them. And it's really helpful to hear what other people think.
So, for future students or students looking to go through the CNA class, tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about your experience once you went to test. Where did you go test?
We were actually the first set of students that got to test here at the Mason Center. And that was the best experience possible, I think. Because, of course, the testing, they always tell you, like, oh, this is where this is going to be and show you everything. But we were already so physically prepared. We knew this place like the back of our hands by those end of those 5.5 weeks we were in this building.
Yeah.
So being able to do it where we actually learned it, it was even more comfortable. And the people who did the test were so kind and made sure that we were comfortable beforehand and reminded us, just know you're comfortable. You guys got this. You've been studying this the whole time. And it was a great experience.
That is unique to the Mason Center, that you do end up, you have the opportunity to take your state exam for CNA and for our med tech class.
Yeah, they did theirs right
here
before we did ours. I think it was a couple of days before we did ours that they did theirs.
I've heard stories of people that took their class like at other places. Even before we were a testing center, we would have to find a testing site for people, and just hearing them say the nerves are already out the roof when you're going to test anyway, but trying to figure out and remember where things are at a new place you've never been.
And then you feel lost because you've never been to this place
and
before.
People freeze.
You take a wrong turn, and then all of a sudden you're panicking, and then you forget everything because you've been panicking the whole time. And we didn't have to deal with that here. And even like there was a girl who came to take the test the same day as our class did, and she was from a different place, and she was talking about how nice it was that she was welcomed, and like when we all sat together in the waiting room and we were very nice, and she felt comfortable here too.
Tell me a little bit about if there's people out there that are on the fence about whether they want to do this or not, or they're trying to figure out where they, maybe they've decided I want to become a CNA, but there's so many options out there. Why would you recommend someone come and do it here at the Mason Center?
This place feels like you guys are a family. You talk to each other like you've known each other for years, even if you haven't. And every person who comes into this place is welcomed with a smile and made sure to feel comfortable. And so I think that it's, even if you don't actually continue to do the work because it's not for you, it's always worth it to try something new, and especially when you've got so much support behind you, to make sure that you can just try to succeed. I think it's worth a shot.
Well, thank you so much for coming by today and spending time with us to tell us a little bit about your experience. I know that you have big plans for the future. You're not just going to stay in this area of CNA work. You're thinking about either nursing or med tech.
I'm hoping to.
So,
I'm hoping to expand.
Well, we look forward to helping you in wherever that journey takes you. And we were so excited to be a part of the beginning journey
it's been
that
great.
You've had in healthcare.
I wouldn't have wanted to do it with any other place.
Well, thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Certify It, the podcast for advancing your career in care. We'll see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Certify It by the Mason Center for Healthcare Education. Get connected with us on social media and at themasoncenterknox.com. If you haven't yet, subscribe to this podcast on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. And if you're interested in sponsorship or donations to help further our cause of providing affordable, flexible healthcare certification programs for individuals seeking career mobility in skilled nursing, senior living, and long-term care fields, visit themasoncenterknox.com.